If there's a military conflict between United States and Israel versus Iran, you're going to see oil prices spiked to over $130 a barrel. You're going to see an economic crash, the likes of which we've never seen. Look what's going on over there in Europe already. Prices in energy are high already because they put the sanctions on Russia, and this is going to make a terrible situation worse. Oh, and by the way, look at all the strikes going on in France, in UK, one country after another. Hey, happy days down there in Peru, people taking to the streets and dying and fighting. I'm telling you, man, this thing is out of control already, and it's going to become a lot worse. So World War III will probably be when they asked Albert Einstein, a cat that knew a thing or two about, atom bombs, what kind of weapons will be used to fight the Third World War. He said, I don't know, but they'll be using sticks and stones to fight the fourth.
So do you think the elites have a plan then if they're straddling the line of nuclear annihilation? Don't you think they wouldn't want to destroy the system that keeps them propped up? So what are they just stupid, or are they short-sighted, or are they just gambling with everyone's life?
How about that guy Klaus Schwab? We got great covers on the Trends Journal. This Anthony Frieder's a genius. If I said, I want you to draw this guy, the head of the Davos group over there, he could not have come up with a freakier, demonic-looking piece of shit like Klaus Schwab. Look, you like the guy Fink? That's the head of BlackRock? You're going to look up to him? How about Jamie Dimon? Now, there's a real man for you. Look who's telling us what to do. They're only interested in their own lives. Bezos, I love it, by the way. They call the Russian rich over there oligarchs. Oh, how about Buffett? How about Gates? How about Bezos? They're not oligarchs? When I was a young guy, they used to have a thing called hardware stores, stationery stores, grocery stores. Now they're all chains. No more stores. The bigs own everything. And that's all they want. And the more people the more war, the more conflict, the more it becomes centralized. That was the biggest complaint over at the Davos meeting. Globalization was breaking down.
What are your thoughts on de-dollarization and the World War III and the military-industrial complex?
So about the dollar. The Saudis want to get rid of it, and so does the Chinese, and so does most of the world. They've had it with American hegemony. They've had it with the West. There's going to be a time when it's going to end. The petrodollar is the big one that, they made up back in the early 70s, or 74, I think. Now the Saudis are saying they're going to go elsewhere. Think about, it's all about the numbers. What does America have? 332 million people. You put Europe together with it. What do you got? About 800 million people. China has 1.4 billion. India is now at 1.4 billion. You look at all the countries, they don't want America to run the show anymore. Why should I have to buy something and pay for it in dollars? Why can't I pay for it with my own currency? And here's the other big deal about it, too. The Fed raised the interest rates another 25 basis points. So every time the interest rates go up, all these countries that borrowed money in dollars, all these emerging markets, their currency goes down. Now they got to pay more dough. This is out of control. And so they're going to do everything they can to get rid of the dollar. And America, if we don't go into a nuclear destruction, America's going down the same path as which it's now become, the United Kingdom. Remember, the sun never set on the British Empire, slaughtering people all over the world and colonizing. And then at the end of World War I, boom, it was over. And they went down. And so too did the pound. And then the dollar started gaining. And now America's become like the UK in the sense that it's a murderous country. What's your favorite war? The Iraq War, the Afghan War, the Vietnam War? How about the Yemen War? No, I like the Libyan War, the Syrian War. I mean, on and on and on. So they've taken over like that. And so now, when this all ends, this warmongering, America's going to go down economically at a level that is going to wipe it out. They got a $31 trillion debt. How are they going to pay it?
So you're saying that either this is going to end in a global conflict or some sort of economic collapse. So what does that look like? And what would economic collapse in the U.S., how is that going to play out?
It would be worse than 1929. Because again, they created all this fake money that's unprecedented. When they started the COVID war, stay home, close down your business. Say, don't worry about it, here's some money. $6 trillion they've thrown. Federal Reserve bringing interest rates down to zero. Over there in Europe, negative interest rates. Look how they artificially propped up the housing markets and everything else. The way they're going to get out of it, as I see it, is they're going to come up with a digital coin. And they're going to say, and again, they'll blame it on the Russians or the Chinese or whoever they want. And they're going to say, we have to do this to protect you. And by the way, China's going there already. I mean, they've been practicing the digital yuan now for 2 years. And so are the other countries going to go digital. This way, you see, they know every penny you spent, what you spent it on, when you spent it, so they can get their tax money. They're politicians. They never work a day in their lives. I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate, by the way, at 26 years old. I was on the inside. And the guys, the people running, we're still in school. We haven't left school. The principals, you obey what the principal tells you. They became the politicians. And the teacher, you do what the principal tells you to do. Why don't you do what I tell you to do? They're the bureaucrats. We're still in school. And you better obey them or else we're going to punish you. And look what they did to the people on the Freedom Convoy up there. Stealing their money, you couldn't donate to them, then you got to put them in jail. For what? We're still in school.
Do you think that the economic implosion would entail like hyperinflation or stagflation, or what do you think that looks like? How does that look?
I think it'll be dragflation, in the sense that the economies will be dragged down and inflation will keep going up. Because, you know, they say inflation numbers are coming down. Yeah, they're coming down, but the prices are still high. Look at the housing prices. Look at the cost of everything. You know, they're not going to go way down. So to me, it's going to be, they're going to go digital, and they don't want to work, the politicians. They want to keep stealing our money, and by going digital, they'll get everything that they could get.
If this war breaks out between Israel and Iran, do you think that is something that is likely to happen, or what is your geopolitical analysis of what is going on there?
No, again, they're ramping it up. What if Iran bombed a Israeli military site? What would happen? What would the news say? Oh my God, this is terrible. We have to do something to stop it. If we don't stop it now. And that's what you're going to see, whether it's a false flag or it actually happens. Like World War II, that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and that's why America's got into it. 80% of Americans were against getting involved in the European conflict at that time. And then Pearl Harbor happened, and here we go. On July 26, 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt seizes all Japanese assets in the United States. You know why he did it? In retaliation for the Japanese occupation of French Indochina. The result, Japan lost access to 3/4 of its overseas trade and 88% of its imported oil. Can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. Oh, they only import, by the way, Japan, 100% of the oil. And now they only got 12% coming in. Because they did what America didn't like in a war. America could only fight the wars that they want and kill who they want, like the British. So again, they don't teach you this stuff. And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be leading up to it. And when it happens, people go, oh my God, look what they've done to us. And forgetting what America and NATO's done to everybody else. Hey, did you like the Libyan war brought to you by NATO? Now, you're probably a fan of the Yugoslav war. Hey, how about the Afghan war? That was a NATO Iraq? NATO, America. They're murderers. You got this clown, the guy playing the NATO general from the Netherlands. We have to start shifting our economy into a wartime economy. That's what he's telling the people. Shift it into a wartime economy.